You are currently looking at is some wet snow really coming down in the Tokyo area here on the afternoon hours of Thursday, the 5th of February 2015. And what we have been seeing is on and off snowfall across the Kanto Plain. The heavier stuff staying off towards the west and definitely inland. I believe the forecast actually put out by the Japan Meteorological Agency during the morning hours may have been a little too aggressive. I know that we did have some snow warnings all the way up to the coast, expecting about 5 to 10 centimeters out there, but latest model outlooks, not just model outlooks, just based on the current temperature reading and the amount of snow we have seen thus far, I do think this 5 to 10 centimeters originally estimated likely going to be coming down. Now, there's a few reasons for that, and one of the main reasons is just because of the warm air. Also because this low pressure area really formed and it stayed off the coast farther than what was originally expected here. The reason is because about 2 to 3 days ago, we actually expected this low to come out of eastern China and really clip the southern coast of Kyushu and come up right like that. But you can see here on the satellite imagery, it actually moved over the Izu Island. So as we did see snow basically today across the Tokyo area, for the most part, the heavier stuff stayed offshore in what you call these, well, basically larger cloud tops, these really puffy ones with the really defined edges just south of Tokyo and much of the Kanto Plain. That's the area where you're seeing the more convection and the heavier snowfall. Remember last year when we had a snowstorm in February, it was all of this stuff that ran right over the Kanto Plain, vice off here towards the north. So the worst of the storm really just dodged south of the Tokyo area, and I know if you're in Yokosuka, you saw some on and off, some rain snow mix as well. And as we go through the morning hours, we still could see some of that wraparound, so don't think that this is over with. I do think there is still the threat of a few centimeters of snowfall. The Tokyo and Kanto area. And as we go ahead through with the ECMWF forecast, just zoom right in on Tokyo. Thursday night, still got that rain sticking around. As I mentioned, there's a few flakes just flaring up here right near the immediate coast. But that's all going to be tapering off. And I think by Friday late morning, for the most part, clearing conditions actually in the forecast. Believe it or not, temperatures actually expected to rebound. I can put some of the temperatures up on the screen. And by midday on Friday, we'll get upwards of about, actually at times, nearing about the 10-degree mark in the downtown Tokyo area. So any snow that does come down, it definitely will not be sticking around beyond Friday late morning into the early afternoon hours. So some good news there if you don't like the snow. If you like it, well, then just head a little bit farther off here towards the north because it will be sticking around due to the sea effect snow swirling behind the storm system in the Hokuriku region and even extending off there towards the north. Do also want to mention that good news for northern and eastern Hokkaido, as you are going to see a few flakes. The worst of the storm is staying off here towards the east. It's not taking that more northerly track. It's just riding along with a jet stream on an easterly path and off to the east and away from Japan. That is fantastic news because for the town of Rasu and Nemuro for that matter, the Japan South Defense Force was actually deployed to the area earlier this week, back on Monday, on Tuesday, and Wednesday. This was the scene. This was the scene on Wednesday. Look at these people digging out their cars. This person actually had to start from the top down because of the amount of snow that fell. There was also an avalanche that hit a few cars. No one has been injured. No one has died. But I'm sure it is just an absolute pain, and the good news is that you can see, as with our forecast track, this is going to continue on an easterly projection. But wrapping up, and all in all, really with this low pressure area, will bring a few passing showers, but the amount of snow that originally was forecasted, likely going to be on the lower side. Actually, this is kind of a repeating pattern, specifically with the ECMWF model. Have to analyze that and just learn from our mistakes, and that in the past it has started to overpredict snowfall. GFS was a little bit more on, but not just that. The JMA actually overwit it with the JMA analysis, and they expected it to be a little bit closer to the coast. One reason why I was being a little aggressive with the whole forecast, upwards about 10 centimeters, because the official agency here in Japan was expecting that, even though my gut said a little bit lower. But hey, you live and you learn, and, well, no harm, no foul, at least in this case. I don't really see any problems coming out of this. Some areas will still see some snowfall, so it's not too big of a deal. It's just, it likely is going to be less snowfall than originally anticipated. So, with that said, thanks again for watching here at westernpacificweather.com. Also do want to note, this is the Meteo Earth app. If you do want to check it out, please stop by sometime on the App Store if you have your phone or the computer. A really great tool to use for tracking weather systems. Also, we are going to continue to keep an eye on the tropics. I know, of course, that we have Invest 94W down here towards the south. At least at this time, though, really, you can see it kind of spinning up here just towards the east of the Guam. I haven't even buffered this up yet because really it just looks like this is going to be a more northerly tracker staying towards the east of Guam. But hey, you never know. The atmosphere can always change, and it could track off there towards the west, but at least at this time, it just looks like a swirl way out here. Could bring some passing showers in the Mariana Islands. Something we're going to continue to monitor through the coming days. All right, guys, that is all once again, and thanks for watching. As always, stay safe out there. All right, bye. Wow, look at that. That is windy. See that?